Well, good afternoon and welcome everybody. Glad to see you here. So today we're going to talk about Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is October. So this is Go for Lunch for October 11th, 2022, brought to you by GoFor Technology. I'm Roger Harmon, your host, and if you're new here, please type new in the comments so we can welcome you to our community. Our mission, as always, is to make your technology work for you, and that's exactly what we're going to do today in the area of cybersecurity. So there's 4 key behaviors for cybersecurity that have been identified for the recognition of the Awareness Month this year, and they are enabling multi-factor authentication, using strong passwords and a password manager, updating your software, and recognizing and reporting phishing. So we're going to take a look at each one of those individually, starting with enabling multi-factor authentication. So this is also known as 2FA, as in two-factor authentication. You are probably already using this on your Apple accounts, and Google is pretty much enforcing this now on Gmail and all their other services. And probably your financial institutions are requiring some sort of two-factor authentication to log in to those sites. So the second thing is to use strong passwords. Now, a strong password consists of words that are not in a dictionary, because hackers will run every word in the dictionary. Then also includes capital letters, numbers, and symbols to make you have a password that is unique. And of course, you don't want to reuse your password. You want to have a unique password for every place that you sign in on the internet. So a password manager helps you because it remembers those complex insecure passwords. Keychain Access on the Apple operating systems is a password manager. It's a little complicated to use sometimes when you're trying to look up a password, because it saves a lot of other information that doesn't make any sense to mere mortals. And so when you're looking for a password, then it's you have to kind of dig through stuff. A better solution is a paid password manager like 1Password, which Mac communities around the world seem to think is the best choice. Now, there is light at the end of the password tunnel. The FIDO Alliance. Now, I tried to look up what FIDO stands for, and their website is not telling us what that stands for. So anyway, the FIDO Alliance is coming up with a system that you don't need passwords. You use what they call a pass key. And if you'd like to refresh your memory on what that's all about, if you search for Go for Lunch number 105 entitled Passwordless on the Go for Technology YouTube channel, then you can update yourself. But let's take a look at what this is all about. So here's the FIDO website, and as you can see here, the board level members, Apple is right there on top. And then there's Google, Intel, a lot of companies you've never heard of, Microsoft, PayPal, some banks, and then this is the second level of membership. There's 1Password. And Chase and Discover, eBay. So you can see there's a lot of companies that have signed on to this new technology. IBM Security, Mozilla, which is Firefox, and Sony, Twitter, and then the government members. And then we have a whole list of third level, which are called associate level members. So you can see there's a lot of people here. So this is something that is a work in progress. It's not happening right away. However, Apple's new operating systems that were brought out or will be brought out this fall do have the capability of using this. So you're going to be hearing a lot of this in the future. So another key behavior is updating your software. So especially if you get a notice that the software is being updated for security reasons, you want to go ahead and do that. Now the exception to this rule is Apple software. We still recommend that you wait for the .3 update. In other words, if it's iOS 16, it would be iOS 16.3, and Ventura, when it comes out and gets to the .3 revision, so that most of the bugs have been taken care of. Recognizing and reporting phishing. This is very important because this is the main way probably that people get in trouble. They get a phishing email, they click on a link, and then the trouble ensues. So a good way to check an email that is coming from somebody that you don't expect and it looks suspicious is to check the sender's email. So let's go ahead and launch our email here, and there we go. So I'm going to do a search up here with a little magnifying glass in the upper right hand corner for McAfee. So you can see I got 1, 2, 3 from McAfee. So here's McAfee protection. So here is a late reminder that action is needed. Act fast. So anytime you get these urgings that have to be happening right away, that's another clue that there could be a problem. So they're telling us here that our expiration for McAfee has passed and we should activate now. So this is the link you should not click on. So in order to find out whether this is a phishing email, you go up to the upper left-hand corner where it has the name of the sender. You click on the little tiny down arrow on the right of that name, and you find out that this came from notifications at BRIDG. The name McAfee is not there, so we can assume that this is a phishing email. This is a scam. This is a fraud. So I wanted to show you something else here, if I can get it to work. McAfee. So let's try this one. There we go. So you see on this search I got not only 2 from McAfee, but I got 1 from Norton. So when we check the sender's address on the Norton one, it comes from tfistamp.com. And then if we check on the sender from the McAfee, it comes from the same place. Interesting. So McAfee and Norton are 2 different companies. So again, this is a clue that this is a phishing email. So what do you do with these phishing emails? Well, you don't put them in junk. You put them in, we can get this, okay. You use the little icon up here that looks like a flower pot with an X on it. And I'm sorry, you do put them in junk, you don't put them in trash. So don't put them in trash, put them in junk. So we're going to put this one in junk, and this one in junk, and this one in junk. That was my last reminder. Doesn't want to go into junk here. So another way to put it into junk is to go to move to and go into all junk. There we go. Okay. So let me just check and make sure you're hearing me. And welcome, Bob. And okay, good. So as we mentioned, don't click on any links if you have a suspicious looking email. And if it's from a company or institution that you deal with, go directly to that person's website. In other words, if it's from Citibank or is supposedly from Citibank, just go to citibank.com and check it out there and make sure that it's legit or not. And another way of checking for phishing emails is watch the grammar. Many times these are from foreign countries where people don't speak English as their first language, and they make grammar mistakes, which will clue you that there is a problem there. So we're going to go through 31 days of security awareness, one for each day in October. So first, protect yourself and your information. Don't be of the mindset that an attack can't happen to you, because it can. And don't think, well, I have nothing of value. You probably do, you just don't realize it. Audit your passwords. So make sure, as we mentioned before, that they are secure and they have an assortment of characters and numbers and symbols. And as we just mentioned, don't click on any attachments to emails from people that you don't know. Stay off public Wi-Fi. So anytime you're like at a coffee shop or a restaurant or even a hotel, don't do any financial transactions on public Wi-Fi unless you have a VPN. Now, we've talked about VPNs. You can search at the GoFor Technology YouTube site for that episode. But if you don't have a VPN, then stay off those public Wi-Fi with anything that would be private information. You can cover your webcam if you so desire. Regularly update your browsers. Now, if you're using Safari, which we strongly recommend, and you have your updates on, not on automatic, I should say, because sometimes an update causes a problem, so we suggest you probably don't want to keep it on automatic. And if you do have it on automatic, then you're fine, because you won't have to check. But if you're not on automatic, you need to check every once in a while. When you see the little red badge with a number in it, a little red circle on your software update icon, then you know to check. Secure your networks. Now, this mostly pertains to your router. So your Wi-Fi router in your house may have some firmware updates that need to be done. They do update the firmware on routers, and usually it is for security reasons. And the password on your router should be a unique password. If you have an older router, it may be a default password that you need to change. If you need help with this, just let me know. And this is a different password than your Wi-Fi password. Take a phishing quiz. Well, for your convenience, right down below is a link to the Federal Trade Commission's phishing quiz. So you can take that and be more aware. Trust no one on social media. So anytime you get something on social media where they're asking you to do a survey or a questionnaire, they're asking you for your pet's name or your favorite color, don't do that. They're just trying to fish for personal information that they can use to compromise your privacy. Lock up your devices. Now, this is not convenient sometimes, but you should have a password on your iPhone, your iPad, and your Mac. Protect your systems. So this is talking about when you add new software, make sure you know where it's coming from. The Apple, of course, Apple has app stores for Mac and iOS, so you're pretty safe when you get those. But if you're trying to download software on your Mac from some other source, make sure you know who it is and that they are reliable. As we've already mentioned, set up two-factor authentication. Now, on your financial websites, number 13 here, you can set up fraud alerts. So you can set up dollar amounts that if are exceeded, you get notified by text and or email and other things. So that's a good idea to make sure that no one is trying to steal your money. 14, clean up your apps. So if you have apps on your devices that you're no longer using, you should just delete those, and that also has the benefit of freeing up storage space. Control app access. Get into the habit of only installing apps from the app stores. Disable auto connect. Now this pertains to your iPhone mostly, or your iPad when you're out and about. Don't have auto connect turned on so it's automatically connecting to websites. You make sure you know which websites it's connecting to and you approve. Help others stay secure. Now, as we're entering a season here of family gatherings in November and December, you are the tech savvy one of the group probably, so it would be nice for you to impart this information that we're going over today to your friends and relatives so that they can be more cybersecurity aware. Mind your surroundings. Well, you should always be mindful of your surroundings, but this is talking particularly about don't pick up a USB stick that you see laying around, a USB flash drive, and stick it in your computer. Bad idea. So anytime you get a request for software updates as in an email or something, make sure you know who that's coming from, and of course it probably should be coming from the App Store, not from an email. Update your software. So you should, keep, again, this is for security reasons, keep your programs updated. Back up your software. Now this is very important, especially in a ransomware situation. And I have had clients hit with ransomware. So what you want to do now, we normally recommend that you use Time Machine Editor so that your Time Machine backup is done once a day. So if you get hit by a ransomware attack, then you can eject your Time Machine external drive and it won't get the ransomware on it because it won't back up. And then you can use that to restore your computer if that is necessary. Check your email accounts. If you have email accounts that you no longer use, go ahead and delete those. Monitor account activity. Now this is talking about your financial accounts, so you should check your bank account, your credit card accounts for anything unusual. I know sometimes that the description on the transaction may be hard to understand, but usually they have a toll-free number that you can call. So if you see something you don't remember doing, go ahead and call that number and verify that it was something you did. Don't click on links from suspicious sources. So make sure you know where a link is coming from before you click on it. Keeping recovery information current. Now this has kind of two aspects to it. Number one is most sites, I should say some sites will ask for a recovery email. So let's take an example of Gmail. They want you to have a recovery email in case somehow your Gmail, you can't get into it. And that would be a different email provider like Yahoo or Outlook or iCloud. And the other thing is that in the case of Google, they give you recovery codes. So you need to go in and get those recovery codes and download them, print them out maybe, and keep them in a place where it's safe and you can find them. Be card smart. That means don't click on the little box that pops up when you purchase something on a one-time only basis on a website that says, we'll keep your credit card information for your convenience. So it's okay on Amazon, but don't do it on places where you don't normally shop. So create an alternate email address. We talked about that up here. And you can do that again with many different sites offer free email. And you can use this also as what we call a junk email address. So anytime you're adding your email address on a website, something that is something that's shopping related or not something that you're really that concerned about, don't use your private email address. Use your junk email address instead. Stay away from scams, well, obviously, but it just basically, before you get an email that looks too good to be true and you want to share it with your friends, make sure that it is true before you share it. And don't give away admin rights. This would be like your Mac's password. This pertains more to Windows than the Macs. Track location services. So on your iPhone, you have the ability to pick and choose which apps get location services. So obviously your maps want to have and need location services, but there's a lot of other apps on there that don't. So you can go to your settings on your iOS device and you can turn off location services for each app that you don't really need it. Don't stay connected. Well, obviously if your iPhone is your only phone in the house, you need to stay connected. But you can certainly turn off your computer at night. That's really not that critical at this point. And some people say it's more wear and tear on the computer to turn it off every day than to leave it on. I suggest that you turn it off once a week so that certain diagnostic software that only runs when you turn it back on can run. And create a security plan. Well, this little graphic seems to be a good security plan. So for your convenience, I've linked to the graphic in the description down below. So we come to our questions. As always, please share the GoFor Gazette with other Apple users you know. We have 97 subscribers, so if you haven't subscribed, please do, and click the little bell to get notified when we're live. And that way we can get to 100, which is a magic number as far as YouTube is concerned. Also, one other public service announcement. The Zoom has been updated about a week ago, so if you haven't updated your Zoom lately, go ahead and do that. And it's Prime Early Access Sale starting today and running through tomorrow. So if you're a Prime member, you can get some good deals on different things, including electronics. If your Wi-Fi router is like 4 or 5 years old, you might want to update that. And if you're not an Amazon Prime member, you can get a 30-day free trial and take advantage of early access sales. And then if you don't want to pay the $14.99 a month, you just cancel it before the end of the 30 days and you have the best of both worlds. You can take advantage of the sale and you can try out Prime. Of course, Prime has a lot of different services, especially 2-day delivery. Like last week I got a 1-day delivery, and Prime Video, which has a lot of good programming, and there's a bunch of other services that are bundled into your Prime account. So let's see here. Chris says, what's your assessment of passkeys usage in the future? Various stages and or when? So as I think I mentioned, Apple is embracing that now this fall. I don't know that it's active right now, but it's promised in updates in the coming months. So you're going to see it there, and Google is all in, Microsoft's all in. So I think that is coming, but smaller companies are going to take longer to embrace it. Bob says, if you're interested in security topic, I suggest you listen to the Chit Chat Across the Pond with Bart Berchot, and that is on Podfeet. So if you go to podfeet.com, podfeet.com, you'll get a link for that podcast. And Susan says, how do you disable auto connect for Wi-Fi? If is asked to join networks good enough? Yes, that's basically the same thing, Susan. They just kind of changed the wording on that. So good question. And David says, why should you not move phishing emails to trash? Because you want to block them. So you want to move them to junk. And that will filter them out the next time they send. But as I mentioned, they do change email addresses, so it may not be effective, but if they're lazy and they don't change the email address, then it'll automatically block when you put it in junk, but it won't when you put it in trash. So great question. Okay, well, next week we're going to redo the podcast episode where Roger forgot to plug in his microphone. So tell everybody that you know about that so they can learn how to do podcast listening. And if you have any other questions between now and then, you can certainly email me or call me, and that information is coming up right now. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.